secrets always lurk in attics at night. As Amy stood before the closed door, her heart pounded like a drum. She knew she shouldn't do this, but curiosity pushed her forward like an invisible hand. Amy never imagined that a simple visit would turn into an eerie experience transcending the boundaries of life and death. The secret hidden in this attic was waiting for her to uncover. The story begins. This peculiar tale unfolded during last year's Christmas season. Amy worked at a magazine. On the eve of the holiday, she received a call from her college friend, Lily. Lily had recently moved into a new house and, with her husband returning to his hometown for the holidays, felt uneasy about staying alone in such a large space. She invited Amy to keep her company for a few days. Amy, having no plans for the holiday herself, thought it would be a perfect opportunity to see her friend's new home. She gladly accepted the invitation. It was Amy's first visit to Lily's new house. From the moment she stepped inside, her expression was one of constant amazement. The house, approximately 1,700 square feet, boasted a charming attic and had undergone renovations worth over $150,000. Given that Lily's husband was an art designer, the overall effect was stunning. For the next hour or so, Amy and Lily's conversation revolved entirely around this meticulously decorated house. Lily led Amy on a room-by-room tour, with Amy admiring every detail along the way. However, when they reached the attic, a discordant moment occurred. The attic had 2 rooms, and after viewing the first, Amy was about to open the door to the second when Lily quickly intervened, placing her hand on the doorknob. "Let's skip this one, Amy," Lily said. "Why?" Amy asked curiously. "Is there some dark secret hidden in there?" "Secret?" "No," Lily laughed. "It's just a messy storage room. Let's head back downstairs." "Come on, we've seen everything else." "What's one more room?" Amy persisted. "No, really, we can't look in there," Lily insisted, tugging Amy's arm. "Let's go back down." And so, Lily hurriedly led Amy back downstairs. Amy found Lily's behavior odd. Even if it was just a cluttered storage room, what harm could there be in a quick peek, especially between such close friends? For 2 women who usually shared everything, Lily's actions seemed strangely out of character. That night, Amy and Lily chatted until late. Around 1 a.m., Lily fell asleep, but Amy, still excited by the new environment, wasn't sleepy at all. She went to the living room, opened her laptop, and began working on an article for the magazine. However, after writing just the opening, Amy's mind began to wander. Perhaps this wasn't the time for work after all. She saved the file and glanced around the room once more. That's when she thought of the mysterious room in the attic. Suddenly intrigued, the vague curiosity in her mind grew clearer. She was certain the room was more than just a messy storage area. Knowing her friend for years, Lily had never been one to be secretive about such things. Amy closed her laptop, stood up, and quietly made her way to the attic. The attic was pitch black, and Amy didn't turn on the lights. She felt her way along the wall, passing the first room's door as she remembered from earlier. A few steps later, she stood before the second door. Despite the cold Christmas night and the short walk from the living room, Amy felt beads of sweat forming on her forehead. It was probably nerves, after all. Sneaking into a forbidden room behind the owner's back wasn't exactly commendable. Amy placed her hand on the doorknob and gently turned it. She pushed forward, and the door opened. The light switch was on the wall next to the door, easy to find. The moment she flipped the switch, Amy was shocked. The shock came from the stark contrast before her. This was no messy storage room. What Amy saw was a spacious and elegant attic room. Wicker chairs, low tables, shelving units, potted plants, a large sofa, and an ornate full-length mirror. Everything was arranged perfectly. The walls were adorned with tasteful decorations. Amy's heart raced. This was undoubtedly the most exquisite room she had ever seen. She could hardly believe her eyes. Slowly, she stepped inside, carefully examining everything around her, trying to confirm the reality of what she was seeing. Suddenly, a thought struck her. There must be something unusual about this room. Why else would Lily forbid her from entering? As Amy pondered this, she unconsciously turned sideways. Right in front of her was that elegant full-length mirror. Suddenly, Amy's eyes widened in horror. The person in the mirror wasn't her. When Amy woke up, she found herself lying in the bedroom. Lily was looking at her anxiously. "Thank goodness you're awake," Lily sighed with relief. "Lily, you're attic." I... Amy stammered. "Don't say it." "I know," Lily interrupted. "What do you know?" Amy asked. "Do you know what I saw?" Lily took a deep breath and began to explain. "I've seen those things before. When we first moved in, every time I went up to clean the attic, I'd find things in that room had moved. I didn't think much of it at first, but then I noticed it happening more and more. Things would move strangely, like the table in the center of the room would somehow end up by the door the next morning, and the floor lamp by the door would be inside the room. I asked my husband, but he hadn't touched anything, and I know I didn't move them. We had no choice but to remove everything and empty the room. But then, one night after that, something even more incredible happened. I went up to put some old newspapers in the room. When I opened the door, I was stunned. The room had completely transformed, filled with furniture, wicker chairs, low tables, shelves, potted plants, a sofa, a full-length mirror. The walls were covered in decorations. I'd never seen any of these things before. At first, I thought it might be a surprise for my husband, but when I walked into the room and caught a glimpse of the mirror, I nearly fainted. The person in the mirror wasn't me, it was another woman. "What on earth is going on?" Amy asked, astonished. Lily continued, "Later, my husband and I realized this might have something to do with Emma, the original owner of the house. Although it's a new house, someone had bought it before us. Emma had purchased the house but hadn't had a chance to renovate it before she needed to sell it urgently. My husband bought it from her. After what happened that night, we did some digging. It turned out Emma needed the money urgently for medical treatment. She had a terminal illness. Sadly, the money couldn't save her. She passed away the very day we moved in. We later contacted her family and spoke to her mother. The woman, in her 60s, told us through tears Emma had always loved attics. She dreamed of living in a house with an attic. She bought this house because of the attic. After all those years of waiting, her dream was about to come true, but then the old lady showed us some things," Lily said. "There were design plans Emma had commissioned for the attic. Everything in those plans matched exactly what I saw that night. She also showed us a photo of her daughter. It was the woman we saw in the mirror." Amy and Lily fell silent, looking at each other. They were both thinking the same thing. Although Emma had passed away, her intense desire seemed to linger in the attic. This desire was affecting everyone who entered the attic, showing them the vision Emma had always dreamed of seeing. And so concludes the story of the mysterious attic.